All right, have and have not fans, this will be the final episode review for Season 7, Episode 20 entitled The Reaping, which was the season finale. Now, did it live up to the hype? Well, if you watch my live stream that I did directly after the episode, you'd know my feelings. So before going into it, and what I will try my best to kind of structure this review by going over the episode and then going into my full thoughts and feelings, because to be quite honest, this won't take long to review at all. So before getting into the nitty gritty, let's cover the basis. So first of all, make sure you like the video, hit the thumbs up. It's the finale. Let's try to get to 150 likes on this one. I think we can make it happen. Go ahead and hit subscribe in order to help me reach 150,000 before the end of the year. Hit the bell icon and allow all notifications to come through. That way you're informed whenever I post new content or go live. And finally, follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Also, I put a link to this in the community tab, but I'll go ahead and plug it here as well. I was able to do a interview on one of my friends' podcasts, More to Know. We talked about pretty much my life as a content creator here on YouTube. Actually, me and my buddy Chris, we actually went to college together. He was one of the only brothers on the dorm, so, we had a close bond, and we would make YouTube videos back in the day for fun. So now, he's starting an official podcast and everything, and I've been doing YouTube for a few years now, so it's pretty cool to come full circle and have a good time talking. So I'd really love if you go over to the channel and watch the interview, give it some views, hit the thumbs up button, comment, and subscribe to his channel, his podcast. Really cool guy. It was a really good conversation, and I hope you enjoy it. So with all the non-shameless plugging there, this episode, 3 out of 10. I have no reservations about saying that this was the worst season finale and the worst season of the show ever. I mean, you can agree or disagree. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but yes, season 5, the first 10 episodes were rocky, but at least the back half was really good and exciting. This season, I don't know what the heck happened. I will do a separate video in the near future going over, my thoughts in regards to the season as a whole, and it is not very good. But the last thing I want to talk about before jumping into the episode is the big announcement. The show will be returning on November 24th for season 8. So for whatever reason, less than a month away, we have the return of the haves and the have-nots. And again, I'll be doing a separate video on the announcement. So we're about, 3 minutes in? And I'm going to kind of break up the episode based off how we saw it. So first of all, we pick up where we left off. Wyatt is bleeding out. He's pleading with Vinny to let him go. And, Vinny's like, you're not going anywhere. How much blood did I lose? How much blood did I lose? And I'm like, in Vinny's position, can you really blame him for doing what he's doing to Wyatt? But at the same time, he's not going to see it from the perspective of, well, Vinny, you were literally trying to kill Wyatt before he took that bottle and slit your throat. So that was self-defense. But doesn't matter. You were the one that lost the blood. And then also remember when he was bleeding out, there was like a freaking pool of blood on the ground. And he had been on the bar floor pretty much the entire day. But then Mitch found him, and then somehow he survived. So given the fact that Vinny survived that, I have no doubt that Wyatt can survive whatever he's going through. So while he's bleeding out, Vinny's going, die, die, die. I'm thinking to myself, there are so many characters who I wish were in Wyatt's position right now. Wyatt, Benny, Justin, Jeffrey, Madison, Oliver, and the list goes on. There are at least a dozen or more characters who I wish would just be killed off of the show because I just don't care about them. And then from there, he's like, I'll give you jewelry, I'll give you money. And he's like, the money don't mean a damn. They didn't give you anything for you. It's like, you're going to die. And then Vinny, wipes his hands with a washcloth and gets the hell out of there. And I'm just going to skip to the end of the episode because let me put it this way. This episode was so boring that I had literally forgotten about the whole Wyatt thing, because given the fact that the Veronica Samuel thing took up a good portion of the last 10 minutes of the episode, I honestly thought the episode would end with Veronica and Samuel, but we had this random woman walking in the dark. I'm going to be completely honest here. I thought this woman was going to die, given the fact that, yes, she was white, but she had a Veronica-esque hairstyle. I mean, given the fact Veronica was wearing a wig, I mean, yeah, I know it was a white woman, but I honestly thought, okay, a woman walking in the middle of the night, it's the end of a Tyler Perry season finale, something's about to pop off. But no, I think she's just walking her dog, and then she goes, ah, and then basically, Wyatt is in the driver's seat of a car. I think the door was open, and hello, police. I'd like to report a dead man in a car. And I'm like, is Wyatt moving? Did I see him twitch or shake? I got to go back and rewatch it. But you all know that I had my live stream on during the last like 3 minutes of the episode. So my live reaction was there from when Wyatt was there and then the special announcement. And I'm like, okay. So Wyatt may or may not die. I honestly don't care because remember, season 6, the last episode of that season, Wyatt got shot in the shoulder, and then it's like, oh my God, is he dead? So I don't care that they're doing this now. Also, remember at the beginning of Bananas Foster, which was the mid-season finale of season 7, he slit his wrist, and now here we are at the ending of the penultimate episode when Vinny slit his wrist. And now we're at the beginning of the finale where he's bleeding out. And then at the end of the finale, he is allegedly dead in the car. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so then we have Mitch calling Candace. And Candace is so adorable because I don't know why. I think I tweeted this out. But Sleepy Candace is just so adorable. It was good to see her back finally because she's been gone for damn near a month in our time. But basically, Mitch calls telling her that Benny's pissed off about the fact that, I lied to him about Derek. He found out about Derek. I don't know how he found out. I feel bad about lying. Candace is like, no, it's just another lie we need to tell. And it's just and I like Mitch, but this was just useless back and forth banter about Benny and lying and everything. There's really not much to say here. Then we have Benny showing up to the hotel. He's mad about the lies and, the whole Mitch and Candace conspiracy. And then the fact Veronica told him what was going on with Derek. And then Candace like, well, how would she know? She knows. She's Veronica Harrington, Candace. She knows everything. Quite possibly the most intelligent thing Benny has ever said in the show. No joke. And then Candace shuts it down. And what was honestly one of the better scenes of the episode, where it's like, me and Mama had to deal with this. Is like, I know it's awful what happened, but I wouldn't be here. Not to mention he's my father. And Mama and I have to deal with this we have to process this. This isn't something that we can just instantly react to. This is a big deal. And I just like the fact that Benny's dumbass was told what he needed to be told. And yeah, he has the right to be mad, but at the same time, it's like you have to understand that, yes, this is your mother, so what affects her affects you, but you weren't there. The fact that this really influences Hannah's life as well as Candace, because this is a lot for them to process, and you flying off the handle and punching the first person you feel deserves it isn't going to help anyone. So I'm glad that conversation happened. And, we'll just sit down and have a drink. Just so you know, it's like $10. I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, just eat a $45 hamburger and calm down. So I know some people are like, Candace wore the same thing this season. I laughed when somebody mentioned that during the live stream, but also understand that this season only covered about, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think this season covered 48 hours, if that. I mean, I could be wrong, but you know how the show drags, so maybe 2 to 3 days tops, but that's it. All right, so let's see. Going on from there, Marco goes over to Veronica's place, and I mean, it feels like we're just rehashing what we went over in the last scene. He's trying to find the guy who's hunting down Akil, who set him up. Of course, we know, Marco is finding out who's coming after Veronica, Akil, who was hired by Jim after getting David's blessing to take Veronica out. And Veronica's like, it feels like I've been stuck in here forever. It's not safe for me to go outside. How do I know I'm not being followed? Don't worry. If you go out, I'll be close by. Don't worry about it. Because, she's like, I need to go a few places. And I'm thinking to myself, is this a nod to quarantine? Yes, guys, I'm well aware this season was filmed in 2018, as well as the additional reshoots in 2019. So all this stuff that I'm about to mention happened prior to COVID, just to throw that out there. Just like the whole mask and glove thing later on. I just thought it was funny because of the fact that, this is Tyler Perry here. Let's see. We go over to Al and Hannah. Another good scene. It was decent. Like, it wasn't an amazing scene, but it was one of the more believable scenes in the episode. But kind of like everything else in the show, it's like, okay, it's been 5 episodes since you and Al have just been sitting there going over the terminology. He's flirting, ask her out for dinner. And she's like, just please give me some time. There's a lot going on. It's like, oh, you're quite selective. I did like the scene. I did like the scene for what it was. It was just like, this is season finale time. I'm waiting for something to really pop off. So after that, we go over to Veronica going over to Justin. And I'm thinking to myself, why was this scene even here? The only thing that happened was that Veronica told Tanner about what Justin did to Jeffrey in the back of the cop car. And I mean, Tanner's whole thing, this entire scene, who the hell is this? Who the hell is this? Justin. Who the hell? That's literally it. She thought that Justin had something to do with the little girls, Colby and the other, gay people in her pool. He clearly had nothing to do with it. And, she walks out. I did like when she knocked on the door. It's like, I'm the real queen. I did like that. That was pretty good. But this scene, I could have done without. Then we go over to Madison and Jeffrey. And it appears that Jeffrey might have a crush on Colby. Or at the very least admires that he's a free spirit. He's adventurous and everything. And Madison got a bit huffy about it, so I guess he's jealous. But then Jeffrey's like, hey, let's go out to dinner, just me and you. Colby told me a few things, I just wanted to talk. So it seems like, he's cool with him and Madison, but at the same time, it's like, well, let's see, Veronica pulled out a gun and everything. This is just another key indicator that Jeffrey loves drama. That's literally it. I mean, that's the whole basis of his character. So then Veronica comes over with the whole mask and everything. And basically is trying to find out whose idea was it that, those little girls were in the pools. Like, oh, yeah, I want to pay for not the damages from the gunshot, but, contaminating my pool and everything. And then Madison's like, get out, Mrs. Harrington, get out, get out, get out, get out. Madison was the Tanner of this scene, where Tanner was going, what the hell? Madison was like, Mrs. Harrington, you need to get out. So basically, Colby, I did love the back and forth banner about the whole $85 dress from Iraq knockoff. That was pretty funny. Then when Colby came, bitch, let me tell you, damn, that was funny. I will admit, I did chuckle during that scene. Then he throws the same insult back at Veronica about the clearance rack dress. That was funny. And basically, Colby Jones Willis. I can't do the tongue thing. And I remember tweeting that out about, Mushu was like, drag in, not a snake, not a lizard. I don't do that tongue thing. So basically, she got what she wanted. And that was essentially Colby giving her his full name. And from there, Colby tries to make her uncomfortable to leave. Jeffrey didn't. I'm honestly surprised. Jeffrey did not engage in the homosexual activity to creep out Veronica, because, that's his thing. He's done that multiple times, where he's made out with Justin in front of Veronica. He's made out with Landon in front of Veronica just to make her uncomfortable so she would split the scene. So Colby's over there trying to feel up on Jeffrey and Madison, but they're just standing there like, bro, this ain't the time. I think maybe because this is happening not shortly after Veronica pulled a gun. So I feel like that's probably why Jeffrey is like, nah, not today. So Veronica leaves, and then she goes back to her house. So from there, we have Laura and Samuel. Samuel's just with the guitar. Laura's just, still in awe over all the free things that Veronica gave her. And Samuel's just like, look, this ain't right. Derek warned us to watch out about her, and you're over here just accepting these free things. Something isn't right. And it's like, well, you're the one flirting with her. And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, and I'm not trying to take sides here, but at least Samuel's playing the game, in regards to the whole flirting and playing hard to get and whatnot. How can you be jealous of him doing his job in order to get this money, yet you're disobeying Derek's Derek's rules and warnings about Veronica? So how come you can take from Veronica what she gives you, but Samuel can't take what she's trying to give him? I'm just saying. But at the end of the day, I get it. There's a difference between sex and clothing. Fair enough. Not to mention, on top of that, I love when she was trying to come on to Samuel, and it's like, I'm not in the mood. Well, you're not in the mood to have sex? No, not until you take that crazy ass wig off. Yes, I'm not a big fan of his acting, but that line did legitimately make me laugh. So, and Laura goes into the bathroom because remember, she was popping shade, throwing shade towards Samuel about, talking about not taking this free stuff. Well, at least she's able to give me this stuff that you can't because I'm over here. I want that house. I want the money. I want the cars. And it's like, we'll get it once we take this old bitch's money. No, well, if it wasn't for that, if you can give it. See, basically, she's putting down Samuel because he's not able to give her the things that she feels she deserves, which is what Veronica has. So basically pushing him away right there. So she goes into the bathroom. Then he gets a text message about, is your wife around? No, call me. And he's like, no. And then when she sends a picture of the money, he's like, ring. So basically from there, Samuel calls and she's like, oh, I knew that would get your attention. So basically, it's like, hey, is your wife around? Yeah, we can't talk. And he's like, well, come on over. Like, no, I'm not coming over, Veronica. And then she brings up Regina. And it's like, wait, what? So apparently Regina is either a young lady, because he's like, that's a long time ago. I'm guessing that's a young lady that Samuel cheated with Laura on. Or, excuse me, cheated with in an affair against Laura. Because when she said Regina, I'm literally thinking that I wonder if Veronica got the name of one of the women that have been conned. I wonder if that was the case. But long story short, they have a little exchange back and forth, and Veronica gets him to come over to the house. And let me see here. Just want to make sure I covered everything. Yes, I'll get to the David stuff. Yeah, that's literally the first page of notes. Then I get to the back half of the page. Samuel comes over to Veronica's, and I'm like, she has the Morticia Adams wig on from the Adams family, coming down the stairs, opening the door. Samuel's apprehensive about the whole situation. And again, a comment or two things here. The fact that I'm not the biggest fan of the actor's performance, as well as this scene taking up a good portion of the last 10 minutes of the episode, I didn't care for it. Basically, she's trying to get him to drink. He doesn't want to. She's basically going over his resume of con artistry, if you will. What are you and your wife planning? Nothing. We ain't planning nothing. Why did you lie to me about your son and everything? I'm telling you, not planning anything. She literally called you out on a huge lie, and you're saying that you're not planning anything. How the hell does that make any sense? Then from there, they go into the bedroom, and it's a bed full of money. My first instinct is, number one, does Veronica have a huge safe in her home? I mean, we know she has a safe because RK cracked it a couple of times to steal stuff, but how does she have all this money? Because Catherine made it clear that this woman is literally barely making ends meet in order to keep up the lap of luxury she, puts on for people to see, because she's in a lot of debt. So well, then again, I guess you could say Veronica having a bed full of $100 bills and whatnot is the equivalent of a student getting a financial aid refund and then, blowing their money. That's kind of what I think. You're in debt, but who cares? I'm getting $1,000. So basically, Veronica has a bed full of money, and it's like, hey, you can stay with that little girl, or you can let me upgrade you. You can keep conning these old rich women, or you can just stay with me. And Samuel takes a long drink. He's saying like, oh, taking one for the team here. So she's taking that drink. Then he strips for her, and then they get it on. And this part of the episode had me going, are we seriously doing this right now? For the third episode in a row, we have a montage. And I'm thinking to myself, Veronica reminiscing about David, I liked it. It did go on a bit too long, but at the same time, I was like, it was a good trip down memory lane, but also an indicator of, wow, remember how good this show used to be? Then last week, we had the montage when Justin was tearing down the Jeffrey mural. And, he was, thinking about him and Jeffrey. Even though I'm not a big fan of the storyline, never was, I did think that was appropriate. And then in this episode, it's like Samuel and Veronica have barely shared 3 scenes together. There is not enough scenes between the two to use for a montage. You are literally doing like a flashback episode or a clip show from the past couple episodes, and that's pretty damn lazy. It just shows that Tyler is padding the episodes in order to reach the 42-minute time marker. So they get it on, and I thought that was going to be the end of the episode, but it wasn't. So the last scene for me to cover is pretty much the David and Alyssa stuff. Now, going back to last week, remember when David had Alyssa come in the house and then she went down on him and then he appears at Jim's bedside in the hospital, then at the police station, and I said something feels out of order? Yeah, that's what I feel like, because remember last week she took her dress off and then went down on him, and then he apparently just went out for the night, and I'm thinking, well, why would David leave Alyssa at his house alone? Sure, Leo's there, but why would she be there alone? Well, no, we have them in bed together with her on top, and here's why I just get upset. Not just because I'm not the one in bed with Alyssa, but the fact that David is on his back. Remember, burn victim, the burn suit to help him heal. So let me put it this way. He's completely fine being on his back on the bottom with Alyssa riding him. But when he turns over and they're both laying out on the bed, he isn't able to handle it when she's trying to gently pat him on the back. That makes a lot of sense. So basically, long story short, they're having pillow talk. Essentially, the fact that his mind is on Erica and maybe you need to get some help. Why don't you talk to somebody about it? And then he's like, well, why don't you talk to someone about your situation? You know, your father issues and everything like that. No, I'm fine. I'm not a psychiatrist or whatever. I was just suggesting it. To be completely honest, I was about to say that Alyssa, she did go to college. I was thinking maybe she would have brought up the fact, oh, I did study psychology. So David asked for her phone, unlock it, take it off password mode. And I'm thinking to myself, because Alyssa brought up Erica and she's clearly on his mind, I wonder if he's going to get the phone in order to finally finish the video of Erica. Because remember when Alyssa first showed up, she showed him the video of Erica and he gave it back saying, that's enough. Well, no, there's more. It's like, I don't care. So I was thinking that we would actually see the entire video, but no. He basically goes through the phone saying that, I can see everything. Anything you're trying to hide? Nope. Who's this guy, Nick? He pretty much wants what you just had. And he basically takes the phone, gives her a new one. Any old contacts you want to keep? No, I'm fine. And then she's like, do you want me to draw you a bath or something like that? No. And then they just lay there. So then we go back to them towards the end of the episode. And she's like, you're going to give me a house. I thought you wanted an apartment. No, I want a house. Well, you're not getting one. I'll figure out how to get one way or another. So she gets up, gets dressed, and I'm like, okay, is she just going to leave for the night? What's going on? So she basically puts her arm in the doorway, slams it, and then screams saying that he raped me. Help me. Then Leo comes in and stops her, and then she just screams and runs away in the middle of the night. What? And then basically Leo is giving him the look of shame. It's like, and then David's like, well, thinking to myself, I didn't touch that whore. And I'm like, nigga, you know what you did. So essentially Leo is going after her, and then that's pretty much the end of that. And I'm thinking, I completely called that. I said that in one of my recent videos, like Candace used to do the same thing over and over. I'm going to scream. Or remember when Candace did this to David back in season 1, where he was trying to break up. Remember, she had blackmailed Jim for $100,000 in a sports car. It's like, he's going to pay you in quarterly increments for law school, $25,000. And this is when they were at the courthouse, when they were still judges, and in David's study, or actually, I think it was Jim's study, and David was the one to come in and take care of business. So basically, Candace, throws herself around the room and stuff, trying to make some noise. And she's done this to Oscar. She's done this plenty of times. So this is not a good reflection of David's character. It's just dumb, because this is like, I know we know he has cameras out front or whatever, but if he pulled a Veronica and had cameras all around his house, then he would be able to use that against Alyssa, because I was still thinking Alyssa's character brought nothing to the show, but at the same time, I thought it was an interesting dynamic that she was seemingly straightforward with David in regards to her intentions, but now she's just regressed to something that we've seen 2 to 3 times already. So folks, that was the episode in a nutshell. It was not a good episode. 3 out of 10. I I don't even think I have a lot of videos to even do about it. I mean, this is my review, of course. I'll do a video about the return date, November 24th. A video about Wyatt. Don't even know why I'm doing it, but I know people want me to talk about it. Is Colby going to die? How this season is the worst season ever. I mean, hell, we didn't even have Jim and Catherine in it. Not to say that they were bringing anything to the episode itself, but they weren't even in it. And that's pretty much it. Like maybe I can bang out 4 to 5 videos. Like I said, I might bring back my rewatch series where I rewatch the early episodes and do reviews on them. But yeah, guys, this episode, this was boring as hell. This was not a great finale. This wasn't a great season whatsoever. Hands down the worst, as far as I can tell. I really do wish the hiatus was longer than what it was. I mean, maybe because OWN doesn't have a lot of shows to come on due to production and whatnot being held back. So that's probably why they're busting out the haves and the have-nots. Some people are speculating that maybe the haves and have-nots is going to end, and that's why they're just kind of burning out the episodes now. Possibly. I don't know. I mean, keep in mind that 2020 has been an interesting year for OWN, because anytime they've announced the show returning, Greenleaf and If Loving You Is Wrong, like a week later from when they announced the return date, they'll say it's the final season. It's like, wait, what? So this could indeed be the final season. Season 8. I mean, I could be wrong, but again, it could be the final one. And honestly, I just wouldn't care at this point. So let me know your thoughts on the finale in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? It being the worst finale, the worst season ever. Did you like the episode? Like I said, there were several times I actually laughed. There were a couple of scenes I actually liked. But overall, this just wasn't good. So if you would like to donate to the channel, I'd appreciate it. Feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And please check out my interview on the More to Know podcast. And with that being said, I'll catch you all in the next video.